Right, so we're going to put in a polyurethane Prothane brand transmission mount in. I have their Prothane motor mounts, and they did not list a transmission urethane mount for an Astro van, but all the measurements said that the S10 will fit, and I'm just mocked it up, and it looks like it's going to fit just right. So let's get on with the installation here. Okay, so this should be pretty cut and dry. This is our stock mount. We have 2 bolts that go on each side of the mount to the transmission. This is one of them. We got the one on the other side. Then we got the 2 bolts that mount to the cross member here and here. In this case, they're actually studs, so I'll have to, get the jack up underneath here, which we have prepared here. We get the jack up underneath here to support and move the transmission up, so I can get the length of those studs. Hard to film in here, sorry. Get these studs to come up over this plate. The new one doesn't have that. It's going to have bolts that go in here, and of course the bolt here and the one on the other side. Looks like we got a little cable retention plate here that we'll be reusing, of course. So next, what I will do is get these loose and then jack it up, and then we'll pull this mount out. Hopefully it'll go fast. I'm praying it will, but you know how cars are. One thing's got to get stuck or something's got to act up. So we got all the bolts out except for this last one here. I've got a jack underneath the transmission to lift it up so we can get this out. It's 18 millimeters, so socket barely fits. And as you bring the head down, the socket gets stuck right up against this. You have to jack the transmission up, pull out the bolt, jack up the transmission, pull out the bolt kind of thing. Unless you have an open end 18, which I thought I did, but you know how that goes. All right, now let's get this bad boy out. With it having studs instead of bolts down here, gotta get my jack kicked up here a little bit more with my leg. That's how we're doing the jack right there. Hard to hold the camera and do all this stuff, but doing the best I can for you. Get this bad boy to come out. Gotta jack it up just a little bit more. There we go. Hopefully now we have our clearance. Okay, so there she comes. There's our old mount. And see if I can reach a new one. Oh, didn't put it in a very good spot. Sorry for shaking the camera there. Okay, so here's our new one here. And this one will be a little bit easier. Oh yeah, bolt holes line up. Okay, so again, this is an S10. This is a Chevy S10 4-wheel drive mount. This is a 2000 Astro van. Holes are lining up down there. And we've got a line up top. So now these will match my polyurethane motor mounts, because you don't want stress on the bell housing of your transmission. If your motor isn't moving but the transmission is able to move on a rubber mount, and you have urethane mounts at your engine, well, then you put a lot of stress and strain on the bell housing. Drag cars and stuff, if they don't have this matched up, I've heard of them cracking and breaking the bell housings because the tranny's trying to twist and the motor isn't. So something to consider here. All right, we're going to get these bolts started with a little bit of Loctite on them. Okay, so here's our transmission mount, all bolted up, nice and beautiful. A little bit of red bling bling going on there. Yeah, that worked out really good. So again, it's a Chevy S10 4x4 of a likewise year of your van, and you can get this from Prothane. And now that matches, hopefully we can see here, my motor mounts, which you can see up in there. Now if you look closely, my motor mount has a 1/4 inch plate steel shim that we cut out to put underneath it to lift the motor up a little bit higher than stock. And these did not create a whole bunch of vibration. I couldn't even tell when I put them in. They're a little on the soft side for urethane, but it gave me a really nice gap between my oil pan and my axle, which you can kind of see here. I'm going to try to reposition the camera in a different view, but I can stick my forefinger between the pan and the axle now, where before it was barely a credit card. So here we go with our clearance here. Try to get the camera up in here, but I can stick my whole finger in between the oil pan and the axle now. So very, very happy with that. So high suggestion to do that. I'll have an updated video solely on the motor mounts coming up.